Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Mike Knademan and Mindy Weinstein here. So welcome to the October webinar where we are going to teach you all about how to convert that perfect client. So Mindy, why don't you take it away for us this afternoon?
Well, thanks, Mike. So it's just going to be Mike and I today, as you mentioned, and I know some of you were at the conference, the Great Legal Marketing Conference, and now it's just been about a week and a half ago. So I'm going to be going over some of the same information as far as how to actually convert your perfect clients. Because if you remember, we're trying to get through our whole series. We started with identifying your perfect client, attracting that person. So now we're on convert. But since I am doing the bulk of today's presentation, I have a lot more about content. And so you'll learn some more tidbits and some things will be a refresher for you too. So let's go ahead and get started. So step one, we already talked about attract last month. And again, step two, we're on convert. Because really, that is what your goal should be. It's not just to attract web visitors to your website. While it would be great to have 20,000 visitors every month, if they're not the ones you want, then that's not going to work. And if they're not from the right location, again, that's no good. So now we have to actually talk about how to get those people who've come to your website. So if you've done all the things right, you've already identified that perfect person, you've attracted them, you need to now get that person to actually pick up the phone and call you or fill out your contact form. And that's really one of the most important steps. And so I'm going to start off with talking about content and how you can create your content in such a way that your conversion rate goes up. And as most of you know, content is something that I care a lot about. It's something that I'm in charge of at Foster Web Marketing. But before that, even my pre-web marketing days, writing was always a big thing for me. So I'm going to give you guys some tips that I've learned over the years and that I've seen work too with various clients, and also some tidbits that I took away from a conference a few weeks ago that was in New York, and it was geared towards the SEO industry. So I'm incorporating all that into today's points. So number one, you need to create content that converts. And we say that a lot, but what does that really mean? You know, how do you write content that's going to actually get someone to take action? So that's what I want to go over with you now. It all starts with the headline. I mean, I think most of you know that. You don't read a newspaper article if it has some boring headline. You don't pick up a magazine because all the headlines on the outside are boring. It's the opposite. You will actually sit down and read something because something in that headline has spoken to a concern you have, or it was compelling enough that you're interested to see what the content's all about. So the same thing applies with your web visitors and your perfect clients. You cannot ignore that page headline. I mean, again, it's one of the first places that people are going to convert, so you need to put some thought into it and see how you can improve it. So even going before we go into some of these tips, I want to mention again that, you know, what some people forget too, you know, and it's one thing that you have to remember, is that really the first place that conversion is going to start isn't necessarily on your website. The first place that it's going to start is in search results. So when someone types in a keyword in Google and they are presented with a list of pages, that's really your first chance to get that person. So that means that you need to have a headline and a title. A page title is, when I say headlines, I'm kind of interchanging it with page titles. They both need to be compelling and interesting. But you need to make sure that page title is something that's going to grab someone's attention, because they're going to be presented with a long list of search results to choose from. And if your page title or headline says nothing more than, you know, Orange County personal injury lawyer dash, you know, car accidents, comma, truck wrecks, I mean, that's not compelling. You want to have something that's going to actually get that person to click on your website. So you need to make sure that page title, again, is conversion focused. So your page titles and your headlines, you know, within DSS, any library article you write, any practice area page that you add, you get an option to do a title and a headline. So both need to be conversion focused, and then blogs and news and those things need to also, those just have headlines, again, conversion focused. So I want to make sure and define that before I start giving you my tips. So really with page headlines, they're mostly used for converting casual browsers into potential customers. So that is what's going to get your perfect clients to keep reading what you have to say. And you also have to remember, though, that the search engines do take the headlines into consideration. So it's a very, very fine balance that you have, that you need to make sure that headline is interesting, but you do want to try to put a keyword in there if you can. You don't want to over-optimize your content, but if you can make it work where you were able to accomplish both, then you've done a good job. And I'm going to show you an example, too, in a moment of what that would look like. So,
well, the big thing, sorry, Mindy, to jump in.
Yeah, go ahead.
The big thing for any sort of page title or your content in general is you want to make it sound as natural as possible. If you're trying too hard to fit all your keywords into your content or your page title, it's going to sound exactly like you're over-optimizing it, that you're trying too hard to try to drive people to your website, and people are going to recognize that that's fake in a way.
Exactly. Now, that's a good point. I mean, you always have to think about that person who's looking at it. And if you've done a good job with the search engines, you've had keywords and they get there, you don't want to turn the person off. I mean, so I think that's a very good point. So I'm going to show you, I just have another slide to get through, and then I'm going to show you what this would look like. Because I know we've talked about this before, and we even talked about it in the conference in Virginia. But it's vague when you tell someone that you have to have a compelling headline, but try to fit in a keyword. That's very vague. It's very difficult. So I will show you an example in a moment. But just to give you a tip, if you have trouble coming up with headlines, look at newspapers, look at magazines for ideas. I'm sure you've heard me say this multiple times, but it works. And coming from someone, myself, who's been writing forever, this was actually one of the biggest tips that I took away as far as content and making good headlines. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Grab the Cosmopolitan magazine at the cashier when you're at the grocery store. Those always have provocative headlines. Grab the People magazine. Grab the ones that are more edgy, more provocative. Grab those magazines. Take them home. You can use the same type of formula with your headline. Just swap out the words. An example I give you is, what no one ever tells you about marriage. I don't remember which magazine I took that from at this point, but it's intriguing, makes you wonder what has someone not told me about marriage. But let's say you're trying to give someone advice on buying a car. You just switched out to what no one ever tells you about buying a car. So my point here is, I know I'm a broken record. You've heard me say this before, but it is seriously one of the best content tips I've ever gotten. So if you haven't tried this yet, do it. It makes coming up with headlines so much easier. So, and also, in addition to that, there's this really great PDF file that I found online, and it's titled 350 of the Best Headlines Ever Written. And it's very interesting. I mean, obviously there's a lot that you can see, but you can see some of the ones that are interesting, provocative, compelling, what other people have written. And even, again, follow the same formula. So I put a link in here. You can go there. You can download that PDF file, get some ideas. I put some of the ones that I liked from it. Advice to wives whose husbands don't save money by a wife. It's compelling. Banking secrets that banks don't want published. Confessions of a disbarred lawyer. I think that one's very interesting. Suppose this happened on your wedding day. There are things that just get you to think. So as a reader, I'm already curious what happened on this person's wedding day. I'm going to read this article. So you have to remember that your perfect clients are thinking the same thing. They want you to give them a reason to click on your website and to keep reading. So let me go ahead and show you an example here. Okay. So here you go. Can you see? I imagine you can all now see my screen. Okay. So here you go, the Bankruptcy Legal Center. Welcome to the Bankruptcy Legal Center. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that the best headline you've ever seen? Because then it goes to the paragraph that says, welcome to the Bankruptcy Legal Center and the law offices. So if you know this person, I apologize. I just found their website, and it just struck me as all the things that you should not be doing. So here's my point with this. Okay, let's say that I am a consumer. I am thinking about filing for bankruptcy. I do a quick search online. I get to this website. It does nothing for me. It says, welcome to the Bankruptcy Legal Center. Okay, well, thank you. That's kind of odd, but yeah, thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for welcoming me again in the first paragraph. And then it goes into, we are a Hamptons Road, Virginia bankruptcy law firm dedicated to providing each client we service with the exceptional legal services you expect and deserve. Okay, well that's still not very compelling. This person or this law firm has yet to speak to anything that's going through my mind. I now know where they're located, but I probably could have figured that out by clicking on contact info or scrolling down. So again, I mean, even the next paragraph goes into the law firm has served 7,000 clients in a wide range of legal matters since inception of 1996. I still don't really have a reason to call this lawyer yet, because if I'm a consumer, I just want to know, should I file for bankruptcy? Is that the right option for me? I don't know what to do. Can this lawyer help? I mean, it speaks to none of that. All I'm seeing is welcome to the Bankruptcy Legal Center. And of course, there's a flash up here, honesty and integrity. As a consumer, I would hope that my lawyer would be honest and have integrity. Free initial consultation, again, that's not so good. So this is just really something that, to me, so much more could be done. Because you take a look at this, and then now let's take a look at this website. Now, the page title on this, I didn't even show you the page title on the other one, but it's Take Control of Your Debt. Anyway, let's see if I can pull it up. Take Control of Your Debt with a Skilled Baltimore Bankruptcy Lawyer. That's the page title. So that's what I would have seen in search results. So one, it already starts speaking to something that's going through my mind. If I'm thinking about filing for bankruptcy, I want to know, what should I do? I'm in debt. So take control of your debt. And it included a keyword, which is great. And so let's say I click on this page. The headline already starts speaking to something that's going through my mind. Is your debt keeping you up at night? Well, if you're thinking about filing for bankruptcy, the answer to that is likely yes. So right away, this headline has spoken directly to something that I was concerned about as a consumer. And then it goes into bankruptcy. Our Baltimore bankruptcy lawyer, Jim Logan, can help you take control. So you can see there that a keyword did make that headline, but it's not spammy, it still reads well, it still makes sense. So that's the kind of thing when we talk about a conversion-focused headline, that right there is exactly what I mean. It speaks to the person who you're trying to reach, your perfect client, and it also incorporates that keyword for you. So I wanted to show you the difference because then going back to this, now that you see that, welcome to the Bankruptcy Legal Center. I mean, there's a whole lot going wrong with this website besides the fact it's all in bold. But just a whole different feel. Because right with this, I'm thinking, gosh, if I'm looking for help, this particular law firm seems to know what's going through my mind. And they've started directly with that. You can even look at the first paragraph because it continues with some of the things that I might be concerned about. Have you stopped answering your phone because of harassing collection calls? Yes, I have. How did you know? Are the bills piling up? Those kind of things. They're the concerns that people who are facing bankruptcy are going through. So you need to think about the same thing with your perfect clients. Does your content, and I'm not just talking, I'm talking about your homepage, your practice area pages, but also all the articles you do, all the blogs you do, is it speaking to that person? Are you converting them? And really, the conversion starts with that, again, that page title, that headline, and you have to continue to do it with the content. And you always, most of you already know, and we talked about it, and I'll get to that in the presentation today. You want to have some kind of compelling offer too. So I just wanted to show you an example because we always talk about you have to be compelling, you have to be interesting, but that right there is the difference between the two.
And Mindy, I think another huge difference between the two pieces of content that we saw from these two bankruptcy firms is that James Logan's site is all about me, the consumer, as opposed to the other attorney whose site is all about how awesome they are, how many cases that they have done. So it's more focused on the attorney themselves instead of who they're actually trying to help.
Exactly, and that's a good point. And that's what makes a big difference too, is that you want to be focused on the other person, not yourself. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, what's most important to each of us, we can say a lot of things, but what's most important to you is you. That's just the way it is. That's how we are. That's how your writing should come across. Your writing needs to come across with the other person in your mind, not yourself. And it's very easy to get in the mindset of, well, I need to tell this person all about how great my firm is so that they hire me. You will get there. Usually when people are searching online, they're researching. They're not necessarily ready to make a hiring decision. They just want answers. They don't know what to do. Most of us approach the internet that way. So you don't want to just start with like the one we saw, welcome to the law firm. Here's all about us, because you will lose someone. They will click on the back button and move on to the next site. So, all right. So with content, continue with content. I want to go over just the idea of repurposing your content. So once you know what interests your clients, we've talked about last month, how to write content that's going to attract people. But once you start getting all the components in place where you are, writing the compelling headline, you've got interesting copy, your first paragraph is going to continue to grab that person. You put all this work into it. You came up with the best kind of topic you could possibly think of. It can be hard to think about, what do I do with that piece now? Well, here's the thing, is you can repurpose content. So if it's content that seems to be converting, you've noticed that people are coming to that page, they're staying there a while, they're contacting you, repurpose it. You know it works. You know that topic works. So think about creating a whole blog series. So let's say you get a lot of interest on a report or a book that you've written, and which is great. I mean, that's the thing. You want people to contact you to order that free offer, but you might even create a whole blog series based on it. So if you went to all the work to write a book, to write a report, see if you can pull content from it, take a different angle so it's a little bit different, but you can repurpose that content if it's good and it converts. So on the flip side, the same thing applies. So let's say that you have some articles you've written, some blogs, and like I started to talk about a second ago, and it's converting, make that into a book or a report. You can compile a bunch of your articles. You would want to tweak them so it's more of a book format. But if you know those topics work, people are interested, continue with that content. Continue with that topic. You want to get the most out of it. So consider, again, making it into a book or a report, something that someone can download. Also make a print copy of it. I think that's really important when we'll talk in a second about free offers. I think it's important also, in addition to having any kind of download, to have the paper version, because people don't throw that away. So that's something we'll talk about in a moment. And then the other thing, and Mike, I will ask you a question in a moment, but the last key point on here is that you want to actually use your content within social media. Right now, the way it's going with the search engines is that the trust signals are very focused on social media involvement. That is how search engines know if you're an authority. You can say you're an authority, but what are you doing? What are you talking about? What are you posting on Facebook? What are you posting on Google+? What are you tweeting about? Those are the signals to the search engines and also to your perfect clients that you do know what you're talking about. So if you create content that seems to be getting a lot of traction, it's converting, use it within your social media. And I'm not just talking about setting up your RSS feed to your Facebook page. That's one thing. But to actually take some kind of key point or important nugget from your content and post it on Facebook and try to start a discussion. So put that on there and then even ask a question to get people to engage with you. But and Mike, with that, because you're handling some of our clients' social media and you're also doing, of course, our own social media. What have you found to work as far as engaging people on the content that we're writing and putting it on Facebook? Is there any particular tips that you found that gets people to actually engage that way?
Well, a huge thing that helps with conversion is actually posting pictures from events that you've done throughout the community. What a lot of people don't realize is that social media outlets like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn, and YouTube, they're all just extensions of your actual community. It's just another extension, an online extension of your community. So if you can post pictures of you being active at a charity event and then including links to your website in the pictures that you've tagged, that's a great way to drive people to your website to learn more about your law firm as well as the event that you just did. So that's one thing that you can do. Another huge thing is, again, videos are huge for social media. Google has recognized that they give credence to Google Plus profiles that put more video in their news feeds. Facebook has done the same thing. They're getting more and more towards the visual aspect of the entire social media experience. So the more pictures you post, the more videos you post, and sprinkle it in with content from your website that always links back, you're going to see a lot more interaction, a lot more traffic going from your social media pages back to your website, and vice versa if you have your website linked up to your social media pages.
I think that's great. Yeah, that's the thing. Just be involved. I mean, that's the big thing. I like the idea of the videos. That's definitely a great tip, too. Okay, well, keep moving on. So some of the other things to think about with your content and writing content that converts is that you want to have a specific purpose and a specific intent for everything that you write. And you can boil it down into 3 categories of content. There's the evergreen content. So that's going to establish a topic relevance. So that could be something that is, it's necessary content because your website needs to communicate this information. So it could even be something as simple as like, here's what to do after a car accident, here's what to do before you see the doctor, those kind of things. That it's not necessarily going to be something that it doesn't apply next week or doesn't apply next month. It's evergreen, it's going to last. But it's basic information about really who you are. So it's not necessarily something that you have to say, hey, I'm a great lawyer, I'm a great doctor, here's a whole article all about me. That's not what I'm talking about. But it's about something that's very specific to your practice. So if you represent car accidents, it would be something very specific to someone who's been injured in a car accident. It's evergreen, it establishes the topic relevance, and it shows you're an authority. So then there's also brand content, and that's also establishing your expertise. So that could be something as far as information on cases that you've represented. I always think that's a great type of content to do. So it could be a blog post on some cases that were recently resolved. People love that kind of thing because they want to see if you can help them like you've helped someone else. So you become a storyteller with that. It establishes your expertise. It's a little bit branded. But branded content can also be press releases. So if there's something newsworthy that you have to share, send a press release. Don't send a press release because you got new office furniture. I mean, it's kind of a lame example, but that's the kind of thing. It might not be office furniture, but I see press releases where you're thinking, how did that even get through? I mean, no one's going to care. That's not newsworthy. So if it's something newsworthy or something's going on, you're involved in something, do a press release. That's going to get your brand out there. And even white papers, I think those are underutilized. If there's something that you think would be interesting to your perfect clients, you can create a small PDF. I mean, it could be 3, 4, 5 pages and have it be on a particular topic. You'd have your information on there, so you're still branding it. But it's, again, something someone could download. It speaks to your perfect clients, and it just establishes that you know what you're talking about. So then there's also industry content. And industry content, again, is establishing authority. So how I see that, there's different examples, but I think the most relevant for all of you guys would be, something's going on, some some big news, or some big event, and it's even a little bit related to your practice. You can write about it. I mean, write a news article about it, or write a blog about it, and get yourself out there. Comment on it. So if you write a blog about some big event or something that's going on, give your 2 cents. What do you think about that? What kind of advice would you have if someone was, affected by this, or, just in general? Because that's going to be industry-related content, and it's going to help you establish authority. So those are just different things to think about when you're writing content. Of course, each one can be broken down even more. But evergreen, think topics that are going to last for a while. Branded content, think about something that's going to establish yourself, get your name out there. Press releases, white papers. Industry content, think news, think events. Find a way to get yourself out there. So the other thing that you want to think about is, if you've gone to all this work to come up with great content that's going to convert, how do you actually extend the life cycle of that content? And I actually took these tips from this really great editor from Bankrate.com. I put the source at the bottom because I don't want to take credit, because they're very, very good points, but they're things worth sharing with you guys. So the question is, how do you plan to extend the content life cycle? You might write a great article, you get some traction, but then all of a sudden it gets buried because you've added additional content and you've done other things. So you want to think of other ways that you can get the most from that content. So number 1, if you have a great article, that's been attracting and converting people, create a follow-up piece to that content. Maybe you can expound on that topic you've already written, or you can make a part 2, or even make an entire series out of it. The second thing, you might even promote with a contest. So let's say you wrote something about, avoiding distracted driving or something to that effect. You could create some kind of contest to get the community involvement. And it could be a contest. I've seen things online where getting people to pledge to not drive distracted, and how many people will make this pledge. You can make it a contest. I mean, there's so many different things you can do. It's kind of hard to come up with things on the spot during the webinar, but just think about that. If you write something that's great, it's converting, is there anything else that you can do? Because a contest would also get you involved with the local community, which is huge for web marketing. Because if you're out there, you might even be able to get links to local links. So your offline and your online activities definitely go hand in hand.
And a great way to promote those contests, everybody, is to make sure that you're posting them on your social media outlets as well.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Yep, I missed that one. But yeah, that's absolutely true. So you want to make sure that you're getting the word out there. And social media is definitely one way to do that. And so another tip too is have experts give their opinion on new content. So if let's say you have some relationships with local businesses, or you refer to other lawyers or doctors or vice versa, get some opinions from them too on how you can promote this content more. Is there anything that they can add to that? Again, they can help you with another series with it, or even help you come up with some spin-off topics. So another thing to think about too, you can even host a chat about the topic. That was one thing that was brought up. So there's a lot of different ways you can do that. So if you have your own technology, let's say you do like the GoToMeeting like we do, you could always actually have like a live chat about it. People could talk. You could also use Google+. Mike, that's probably more your expertise, but there's different ways that you can actually get people to talk about your topic. So again, you just want to get people engaged. You want to make sure that they know about your content, they're sharing your content, they're converting with your content. So that goes with social. And then the last one I have on here is a guest blog. So if you know a topic works and you've already have it on your website, reach out to other bloggers, reach out to other websites that are relevant, that are tied to yours in a way in that they go after the same target market that you do, or they have the same audience that you want to have, and see if there's something that you can write for them. It would be a guest post, so it would be something unique, not something that you already have posted on your website. But if you know a topic works, you already have it on your site, see if you can post something similar elsewhere, because that's going to, one, get you a link, and two, build awareness about your company too. So those are all the things that you can do with your content. And one of the things to remember, and I think you probably all got this point from all the content advice I just gave you, you're not writing for Google. That's not what your goal is. You're not writing content because Google loves it. You're writing content because you're trying to get your perfect clients. That's what you have to remember, and that's a big key, and it's something that people often overlook because they get so stuck on the fact that, well, I have to optimize my content. I have to include keywords in there. So next thing you know, they have content that's just not written for an actual human reader. I mean, it's written just for the search engine. So there is a balance. I showed you the example of that website that included keywords but still spoke directly to that perfect client.
Now, everybody, I know you probably have questions based off of those last couple of slides. So remember that you can always put those questions into the QA panel and GoToWebinar, and we are going to be answering questions at the end. So don't forget to do that.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, we'll have some time at the end. Make sure that we have at least 10 minutes or so to go over questions. So now, everything I've talked about was written content, text. Now you have to remember that video is also content. So when we talk about content, we talk about conversion, your videos would also fall into that category. So you want to make sure that you do incorporate video on your website. But not only that, you also want to make sure that you're syndicating your videos to YouTube. You can never forget that Google owns YouTube, so they definitely are going to put a lot of weight on that when someone's searching. Google's going to make sure that YouTube videos show up. So add videos to your own website and make sure you're syndicating them. Because when it comes to conversion, video builds trust. If someone can see you, they can hear you, they get to see your mannerisms, they get a feel for your personality, they will start to trust you before they ever walk into your office, before they pick up the phone. They'll feel like they know you. And for those of you that have videos already, I'm sure you've seen this happen to you. I mean, people say, oh yeah, I saw your videos. You know, they already know about you. You've already started answering their questions. So video is going to help you with your conversion, get more people to actually call you to come into your office. Now, really the title of the slide is professional videos for top content. When you know what pages are generating a lot of traffic, so they're your top landing pages, you want to make sure that you have video on those pages. You want to make sure that, you know, if that's a highly visited page, that someone is not only presented with written text, but that they also are presented with a video that's going to start answering their questions. That helps with conversion. That helps get people to stay on the website longer too. So it's a big thing. So in some of these I already started to say, you know, video is going to give you or clients an opportunity to see and hear you. It's going to answer questions. It's going to drop that bounce rate. So when someone, again, arrives on the page and there's a video, they will stay there longer on that page. So your bounce rate, which means when someone clicks the back button, that bounce rate goes up, but that bounce rate will go down because they'll stay on your page. So that's important. And really with your video, you don't want to get carried away. People aren't going to watch a 5-minute video or a 10-minute video. Think 30 seconds to 2 minutes. And just think of yourself as a storyteller. And I would say the same thing for even your written content. You are a storyteller. That's what people want. You know, I've done a lot of books, and that's one of the biggest things is people want to read stories. They want to hear about other people that were like them that you're able to help. They want to hear how you're going to be able to help without you just saying, I'm so great, I'm an expert. They want you to explain it in a story format. That's huge. And so with your video and with your written content, always think of yourself as a storyteller. And video is a game changer. That's just a given. So with moving from video and content over to mobile, people are searching on their mobile devices. We all know that. We're all doing the same thing. So you need to make sure that you are where your clients are, that they're not going to look up on their phone and find you and find this website that they just can't navigate because it's just too big. So you need to make sure that you are reaching that mobile audience because it's getting bigger. You know, one of the latest statistics is that at least 50% of all local searches are being performed on smartphones. That's huge, and that number is just going up. I had a lot of other statistics that I was going to share with you, but I don't want to bog you down with them. Because really the point is you have to have a mobile presence because that's where people are going. People are using their phones, they're using their iPads. You need to make sure that you're not alienating any of your target audience or any of your perfect clients. You need to be reaching all of them. So with mobile search, and since the importance of it, you need to make sure that you are giving a better user experience to your perfect client. And that means that you need to have a mobile website, and that's really what it boils down to. Mobile websites, they're going to load faster. They're designed for smaller screens and touch controls, so much easier. And when it's done the right way, perfect clients can basically just click on a button to get to you. And the other thing, too, is mobile websites, they do integrate with social media, and they can improve your SEO performance. Now, a mobile website, just a side note, I mean, it's optimized the same as your main website, but the difference is if someone's searching online, again, and they find you, but you're not giving them a format that's easy for them to search information on your website, they're going to just click that back button and find a website that is going to be formatted for their phone. Don't lose those people. Don't lose those people. They're just going to slip through your fingers if you don't have the right user experience set up for them.
And we've seen a lot of our clients who are traffic attorneys or DUI attorneys that they've had a lot of success with their mobile sites because people need to have contact with a lawyer right away. So for most of our mobile websites, there's actually a button that allows the person to call you directly from that mobile website. It syncs directly with the phone and kicks it over so that they can call you right away when something bad happens to them.
Yeah, that's big. That's a great example. That's definitely a great example. All right, and so with the mobile, I mean, I was talking about mobile websites, but there's also apps, mobile apps. That's a big thing. A mobile app is great. So whether you're a doctor or lawyer, I just have law in here. It can brand. It brands your firm. It brands your company. It creates greater visibility, which strengthens your brand. So really think of it this way. You know, a lot's been talked about, like trying to stay in the mind of your perfect client. You know, stay top of mind, I think is the phrase that's used a lot. There really isn't a better way to stay in someone's mind than to be on their phone. Think about how many times that you grab your phone. Think about how many times you probably already looked at your iPhone since listening to this webinar. You just do it. I mean, it's one of those things, or your iPad. So if you have an app on that phone or on that iPad, that's your logo or however you have it designed, but it's your name. You're in front of that person all the time. So whether they realize it or not, you're on their mind. So you can help them. I mean, of course, that helps you retain clients too. And the fact that they're not going to forget about you. They're going to continue to go back to you for various problems that they might be having. But the other thing is subconsciously, think about it this way. If someone comes up to them and says, hey, do you know a good lawyer? Do you know a good doctor? Oh, yeah, I do. You know, you need to call so-and-so. Because you've been in front of them. You branded yourself. You're on their phone. You're on their iPad. So apps are really great with that particular way of staying in front of people. And they're growing. The average user has 88 apps. I think that's pretty crazy. I know I have a ton, but a lot of them are ones that my kids keep downloading too. So there's always something new on my phone or something new on my iPad. But the thing is, they're growing. People love apps. So you want to be there. You want to be where your perfect clients are going. So what's great about apps too is that they engage your prospects. You can give them helpful tools, helpful information, different things that they can actually use to make their situation better. Oh, see, I forgot that was in there. Keeps you in your client's mind, exactly. And the last thing, it's just really cool. How many people do you know that can say, yeah, I have my own app? Yep, I do. Do you have one? It makes you stand out. So apps are a really great way to go. And just to give you some ideas, you know, if you're a lawyer, I mean, you can have an app that has a feature to call 911, you know, locate the nearest hospital, have buttons like that. It could have the ability to store videos and pictures, or it might have resources and tips. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. Or if you're a doctor, I mean, you can have something that is going to help someone track their symptoms and track their doctor appointments. There's just so many things that you can do. But if you're helpful to someone and you're actually providing them with something useful, then again, it's not only are you going to stay top of mind for them, but they're going to refer people to you too. So it's just a great conversion tool. Apps are a great way to go. And if you have any questions about any of this, I mean, you can definitely reach out to us because we can help you really with everything that we're talking about. So with conversion, you have to have a free offer. So that content that we looked at, I showed you a moment ago with Bankruptcy Lawyer, not the one that said welcome to my law firm, but the other one. You notice on the page that had a compelling offer. And I know most of you have already taken this route. You have a report. You have a book. And that's great. Now, the thing with it that I would add is that don't just have one for the sake of getting people to download it and get into your database. Have something that is actually going to answer their questions, that's going to give them helpful information, that's going to really lead them back to you. So whenever I approach any book or any report, that's one of the first things I think about is, okay, one, who is my reader? What do they care about? What answers are they looking for? And how can I lead them back to me or to you if I'm your ghostwriter, really? So what are we going to do that's going to lead them back to you? Because one, someone doesn't want to be an expert on all the ins and outs of the law or about their medical issue. They don't want to be the expert. They just want some information. So you give them that information, but everything you do leads them back to you. And that's how you're going to get them to even convert into a client. So make sure your compelling offer is enticing and hard to resist. Everyone likes something for free, but make sure that when they actually get that report or get that book, that it is something that's interesting to them. You know, some of the best offers are books and reports, like I've mentioned. But you could also do DVDs, you could do CDs, or you could even have the mobile app, like we just talked about too. So again, it needs to be important, or it needs to be relevant and answer the questions of your perfect clients. That's huge. Don't just talk about the law. Don't overwhelm them with information that really they don't need to know. Just get them interested in you. Get them to recognize that you're an expert because you're giving them this information. Get them to come back to you. That's the important thing. And Yes, you need to have a benefit to the person ordering it. So on that note, it's good to have a downloadable version of your book or report. I do agree with that. But I also think you need to have a paper version because people will throw away business cards. They will throw away flyers. They won't throw away books. Or they might, but it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to toss a book in the trash versus tossing a business card in the trash. They will hold on to your book. They will hold on to your report. It might sit on their bookshelf. It might be something that they hand to someone who says, oh yeah, gosh, I was just in this accident. I need some information. And the person who ordered your book's like, oh great, hey, I actually have a book for you. So you want to have it in a format that someone's not going to get rid of it. So that's a strong recommendation I have for you. You can do the PDF route too, but make sure you have a paper version as well that you can send out. So with your compelling offer, it is all about the cover. We say don't judge a book by its cover, but there's that saying because we do judge books by their cover. And we also judge books based on their title. Some of you have heard me talk before about I have some personal finance books that I co-authored years ago, and one of them, which McGraw-Hill ended up picking up, originally it was titled Money Calorie Counter, which I thought that was fantastic. A money calorie counter, wouldn't that make people raise their hand and say, oh, I want a money calorie counter? Well, by the time it got to the publisher, who they have a very savvy team of marketing professionals who all they do all day long is come up with titles, they retitled it to Rich and Thin. So now it's kind of funny thinking about that. Okay, if you had your choice between a book that said Rich and Thin or one that said Money Calorie Counter, you'd probably go with the Rich and Thin because it speaks to something that people want to be. They want to be rich, they want to be thin. Money Calorie Counter, you're kind of confused. Like, what is that? So that's just one example of the fact that title makes a difference. You have to have an interesting title, and you have to have a cover that is attractive, that's going to catch someone's attention, that's going to get them to order your book. So that's an important thing. And also have a perceived value for your free offer, whether that means you print a price on the back or you just mention something on your website that it's free for a limited time, however you want to do it, but you want to make sure that someone does perceive it as valuable. Okay, so some of these I'm going to go through the rest of these fairly quickly so we have time for questions. One of the things that you need to remember is that the whole point and everything that we're talking about is that we're trying to get your phone to ring and we're trying to get people to fill out your contact form. Be ready for that. Don't be shocked when it happens and send everybody to a recording. They don't get to talk to anyone. They get stuck in a 5-minute recording. Press 1 for so-and-so. Press 2 for so-and-so. Where they're just going to hang up the phone. And I've heard calls like that, so I know they happen. Make sure you are ready when that perfect client is ready to contact you. So yeah, don't freak out when it actually starts to work for you. That's the point. So what you need to make sure is that someone's available 24/7, that whoever, the perfect client who's calling you is actually going to get someone on the phone, or they're going to have a live chat, that they can engage with someone. And you need to make sure that you are getting notification of leads immediately because you're going to have to follow up. I mean, people are going to move on to the next person if you don't get back to them. And you also want to have a built-in follow-up campaign. So that would apply to each of your offers. If you had multiple books, have a follow-up campaign for each of them that runs automatically. That's going to kick in as soon as someone fills out that contact form. And the last thing is you also want to be tracking your calls. That's how I know that some of those people that I just mentioned, that they get stuck in the 5-minute recording of press 1, press 2, press 3. You want to listen to, you want to know where those calls are coming from, and you even want to listen to them too to see if there's anything you can do to improve. So make sure that you are using a trackable phone number, that you really know where these people are coming from. So with all that, you need to make sure that you measure and improve. So if you're not taking the extra step to actually look at what you're doing to see if it's working, then you're wasting your money. You really are. You're shooting at a target wearing a blindfold. You should always be monitoring your top content pages, your top traffic sources, and your keywords used. You should be able to answer that question if someone says, what are your top pages? Oh, well, I can tell you. Where are people coming from? Oh, I can tell you that. What keywords are they using? Oh, here's the list. So that is really important. In DSS, we have all this information. We make it easy for you so you can access it there. If you want to dig even deeper, you can go into Google Analytics. And also going back to the keywords used, one of the big things, and I even mentioned this on the DSS user group last week, one of the workarounds to the biggest keyword that you'll see, which says not provided, because Google's not giving it to you because someone's logged into their account. So Google's not going to give you the keyword that they use to search, which is very frustrating. So a workaround for that is to look at your top landing pages. They're going to coincide. See what keywords you have on your top landing pages, because those are likely the ones that are showing as not provided. That was the tip I took from that New York conference. That's how all the industry experts do it. They just work around it by checking out their top landing pages. So real quick, one of the things, and we've talked about this in so many of our webinars, you have to fix pages with high bounce rates. So if you have a top landing page, it has a high bounce rate, you need to do something about it. So that could mean that you're revising the page title. It could mean that you are looking at the keywords people are using, and even as simple as making sure that the content makes sense, that there aren't typos. Those are the big things. And then also you want to add video to a page. So if it's a top landing page and people are bouncing right off of it, add a video that makes sense, that's going to answer the question as well. And we actually are working on that. Mike, I don't know if you shot the video yet for the 2012 election social media article that we have.
I did actually shot it last Friday, and I believe the video studio is actually wrapping that up today, so I can get that on that high bounce page and get Tom to stop yelling at me.
And here I'm going to show you. So just to be transparent, okay, so we do the same thing. We look at, okay, what are our top landing pages? I'm in DSS. I'm showing you Foster Web Marketing. I'm opening the door so you can see what we look at. Okay, this, of course, is our home page. And then this is the one that I just mentioned. So the article was, will the 2012 elections be affected by social media? Well, we've got a lot of visitors. So, it's working. It's a good page. But look at the bounce rate. That's not a good bounce rate. So that's what we're doing is Mike shot a video about this very subject that we will add to the page. So that's one of the first things that, oops, let me just go. Okay, that works. So that's one of the first things that we look at. Okay, the title, yeah, the title makes sense. Does the title, one of the other things I look at is, does the title accurately reflect the content on the page? Because that's the thing too, you might get excited about doing a compelling title, but you don't want to get so off base that it doesn't accurately describe what someone's going to get when they get to their article. And I'm sure you've seen that when you've done searches. I've had that happen where I've searched for something, it shows up in search results, it's in the title, and I get to the page and it's something else. So that's what you want to look at. So that's what we look at. Okay, the title, yeah, the title, that makes sense. The page headline, still describing the same thing. Same with the meta description. But it's kind of a boring page. That's the other thing. We're going to go back and I'm going to go back and add an image to this, because right now it's just content. It's a little bit boring looking, but we're also going to have a video that's going to attract people. So they're going to stay on the page because of that. But that's one of the first things that we look at. So the things that we're telling you to do, we do the same thing. So that's one of the things. You go in DSS, look at the page, see what you can do, and you just start going through each of them. So that's an important thing you need to measure and you need to improve. And I think I have a couple more on that before. Okay. Oh, and of course, some of the other things you can do is you can reformat the page, which is what I'm going to do with that page, because it has the subheadings, but there's more that we can do with it. We can, like I said, add an image, make it a little bit more attractive. And also, if you can, add links to other pages. Like if you have another article that addresses more on that topic, or if someone should go to your practice area page because it's going to give them more information, you'd want to include a link to that and include it above the fold, meaning at the top of the screen, top of the page, because that's going to increase the pages viewed by someone, and also it's going to just be more interesting, more attractive for them. And always, 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 always have a call to action. Always. That's just one of those things. Have a call to action. Don't expect for people to know what to do after they're done reading or after they're done watching your video. Tell them, and your call to action usually is your free offer. So those are things that you need to think about. So with all that, it's overwhelming. This was just step 2. So there's step 1, which was attract, and we still have retain to go, and we still have measure and improve, like a whole webinar just on that. So we have a lot more to go. It can be overwhelming. So, just a reminder, we have a lot of content plans. We have SEO plans. They're designed to help you attract and convert your perfect clients. So when you do sign up for one of those, you would work with us directly on creating your strategy on who it is you're trying to attract. If you haven't defined that perfect client, we will help you with that. But we'll really be your marketing partner the whole way so that you're able to attract, convert, and retain those perfect clients, because that's really what it's all about. So if you have questions about our content or SEO plans, feel free to call or email me with questions. My email, I didn't even put it on there. It's very easy. It's Mindy at Foster Web Marketing. And I can explain, what it is we do, and we can take it from there. So, but just keep that in mind so you don't have to be overwhelmed. You're not out there on your own. We will definitely help you. So with that, we have about 10 minutes left for questions. Mike, I don't know what all's come in or
yeah, so actually Steve Richardson has a very good question. He said he enjoyed all the advice about how to write the content, but he's looking for a specific example as to how he can target his perfect client using different things like geolocation and keywords, things of that nature.
Got it. Well, and it's one of those things, as soon as you know who your perfect client is, you really should be able to walk, okay, step back a second. Your perfect client should be defined so much so that you can step into a Starbucks and say, yeah, that's him or her. That's the person I'm trying to track. So once you know that, you know the exact things that that person asks. You've worked with that person before. You know the questions they ask. You've heard it before. And that's the kind of content you need to create. So your article would need to address that very question. And here's the deal. So talking about the geolocations. Okay. So if you know where that person lives, you'd want to incorporate that into the content. Here's what I would do. And this is actually what I do in general. So you write your content. Think about that person. Be all motivated, inspired. Write your article that's just addressing that question that you've heard from that person before. Write your whole article about it. Don't get caught up in geolocation and keywords and all that. Just write. So once you're done with your content, you look at it, see where you can weave in, geolocation, keywords. So like we looked at with the Baltimore bankruptcy lawyer. See if there's somewhere in your content you could put that where it makes sense. So you're hitting the location that you're trying to get your perfect client from. There's still a keyword in there. But again, you are thinking directly of that person. So write the content, then go back and see if there's keywords or locations you can put in there. I hope that answers your question. If not, if it doesn't answer your question, Steve, let Mike know, and I'll add to it. Are there more questions, Mike?
That was actually it as far as Steve goes. A lot of people had the same sort of questions, so you actually answered a lot of people's questions all at the same time.
Okay. And that's what I do, and because I love to write, so it's one of those things I get real passionate about it, as you can tell. Is just keep that in mind. Just write with that person. Think about that person. Take a few minutes before you even sit down to write, or you start clicking on your keyboard, and just think about that person. Imagine them, picture them, try to get in their head, write, then go back and see how you can optimize. Because if you start out and you think, okay, I need to optimize this content as you're writing, I almost guarantee that what you write will be poor quality. No offense, but that's what I see. So don't get hung up on that. Think about that perfect client. You can always go back and add your keywords and locations. All right, well, if there's no more questions coming in, anything else, Mike, before?
Nope, that's it. I think you answered everybody's questions sufficiently throughout the entire thing. So good job, Mindy.
Well, good. And if any of you think of questions after the fact, you can definitely email me, content and SEO. That's what I do. So I can answer your questions and anything that you need help with.
And Mindy, I think we're actually having one question come in real quick. One sec.
Okay.
Okay, Mindy. So you mentioned press releases, and the question is, what are the best or most cost-effective online press release sites to use? And should we post different press releases on multiple PR sites to get more link juice, or stick with one PR site?
Okay. Well, no. So the question, it's kind of hard because best and cost-effective. Okay, because in my mind, I'm thinking of different things. There's a bunch of free press release sites out there. They're not as effective. So my opinion is PR Web. That is by far one of the best ones to do, but it costs money. So I mean, you're generally looking at about $80 for a press release. You don't need to do one of the top packages. They have a range of press releases, but usually you want to do the one that's about $80. It gets you a distribution, pretty good distribution. So PR Web is a good one that we use when we're really trying to get a lot of traction. So you can use free press release sites, but you won't get a lot from it. I mean, it's the whole mentality, you get what you pay for. If you don't pay for anything, you're not going to get much of anything. So definitely check out PR Web for that. Was there any other part of that question?
Nope, that was it.
Okay.
And Mike Sale, that was a great question, so thank you for that. All right, guys, so if there aren't any more questions, thanks again for joining us today. We hope you learned a lot. And if you have any questions whatsoever, again, you can always email Mindy at mindy@fosterwebmarketing.com. And for any social media questions, how you can use that to leverage and answer your perfect client's questions, you can always email me at mike@fosterwebmarketing.com. And we look forward to fielding your questions and helping you guys in the future.
And thank you for joining us today.
All right, everybody. Thanks for coming out.